I would absolutely ask you to question yourself. The holdup, is it fear or is it risk? And if it's just fear, just overcome that and do it regardless. Or everything is so well connected with each other that it figures out what to do. I don't think I'll be able to tell anything more than what they would have already calculated. So if Sequoia has invested, I can almost invest blindly. We use our TTS and our lip sync models to do video personalization, for example. And so, if you're just doing it for money, or if you're just doing it for quick exit, or if you're just doing it for anything but strong purpose that is attached to that idea, you'll be demotivated along the way. When it comes to capital as well, again, obviously, the capital that at large Indian GAN.AI companies will be able to raise will be lesser than what American companies will be able to raise. So we've built like India's only foundational model that is capable of supporting all Indian regional languages. It makes us the world's first company to be able to do that.
Like what you see the future of AI?
It's not future, I think it's present, are already being trained on very, very large data sets. Time and again, these new models have started to prove that they're smarter than humans.
I am excited to chat with Anupreet Singh, Chief Revenue Officer of GAN.AI, a startup doing awesome stuff in video personalization space, an active angel investor. From leading the EDC at GGS IPO, to building his own first startup, the Online Fest, to now scaling GAN.AI. Anupreet's journey is a masterclass on turning ambitions into action. In this episode, we are going to talk about how his early leadership role at EDC shaped his mindset, the rollercoaster story of his first startup and the lesson it taught him, why he believes AI is both a force for good and a domain needing guardrails, especially after the controversy of Hrithik Roshan deepfake, and his candid advice for the students who are dreaming of startup, founders who are raising funds, and the industries he would bet on today. Whether you are building a startup, curious about AI ethical dalmia, or just love a good underdog story, this conversation is for you. So let's dive in. I would like to start your story. You started as a president of a ECEL in your college, then getting a placement from a tier 2 college of approximately 3.2 lakh per annum, and then going to join some great companies like Slintel and GAN.AI as a revenue. So share your story, like how was it?
So it was, interesting, I would say. I, like you mentioned, was interested in startups right from the college, and that's why I ended up heading the ECEL of my college. For a tier 2 engineering college, it's not very common to have people who are interested in, leading ECELs. So there was no taker for that, department, and so it was easy for me to become the president of the entrepreneurship cell of GTPIT, my college. And 3.25 was the typical package you get from such colleges, and I was I was lucky, I would say, to get a job out of the college in CSC, and I was working out of their Noida campus, and in 2 years I realized that I'm definitely not going to be the best coder of my team, let alone of my company or of the world. And one thing that entrepreneurship taught me was to dream big. And so I realized that this is definitely not the area where I'd be able to excel a lot. And so I started to think between either continuing the startup that I started in my ECEL, or going into sales or marketing, which is where I was at least better than everyone else around me. So I had like at least a good sample size to feel confident, in that I'll be decent in sales or marketing. And that's how I progressed my career from CSC to then startups, and did sales in startups.
Definitely. So we got to know like why you are into startups and why it really attract you to go into the startup, build one and all. So you have started your first startup as the Online Fest. So we would love to know, like there's a lot of students in the college who want to do something. They do not know how to do it. So let me tell you my story. So when I joined my college, I was from a very small city, Mathura, and we do not have resources and we do not have anyone to tell like how to do a startup and what is startup. So when I first came to Delhi, so luckily we have some advantage of the new internet era. Internet is really accessible rather than if we compare to your face. So we know like what is startup. So now there are a lot of students who want to do, but there are no kind of a really good resources that are available. Some are fads, like some say like do this, do this, do this, and they are like kind of a MLM schemes, right? They really pushed you to build a drop shipping business, build something else, and there's a lot more who really guides you to do something else, like start an SMMA agency and all. But let's suppose there is a student who is studying in like a first year of his college, just get out from a tier 3 or tier 2 city, studying in a tier 2 or tier 3 college, and want to start his own startup. He has a vision to build a product into the product category, not in a service based company. So how he can really start it out, and what are the major steps he should take as a student? Because as a student, he is also not very a people of network, right? So he's coming from a very ground zero level. So what he should do, either he should start from a job or he should do what he likes. What's your opinion?
Yeah, so I think a lot depends on the family scenario, I would say. If your family is not dependent on your income, then you can, definitely start right away. You don't need any kind of a base, and especially, the good part about tier 2, tier 3 that most don't realize is that you have nothing to lose. Like you're not on a package that you won't be able to get again. A 3.5 lakh kind of package you can probably get pretty easily in the future as well. If you've done your graduation, and so like falling for that, I think, is more like a trap. And if your family doesn't absolutely need that money, I would absolutely encourage you to start up and go head first into it, right? So like no one really knows how to swim through the whole ocean and get past it, and many will not be able to swim through the whole ocean. But if you run a startup, I think you either become successful or you learn. Like there's no failure, I would say. Every failure is teaching you so much that you will come out as a winner regardless. And so if you have that time, and the key point to understand is that as you grow in life, your responsibilities will increase. Let's say you have parents that are working right now, and so they're not dependent. In 7 years or 10 years, the scenario will change. They will retire, or they would want to retire, and now dependencies will start to happen on you, right? And similarly, you'll probably get married, you'll probably have kids, and so dependencies will only add up in the future. So the best time to start up is actually when you're young and you're in college and you have like a lot of risk-taking appetite at that point. And so I would encourage people to just do it, because it just helps you learn so much faster. And if it works out, then you've hit a jackpot. It just continues to be your career trajectory. And if it doesn't, you have so many other career trajectories that open for you, because you've learned faster than most of your other colleagues in your tier 2, tier 3 colleges that you were working or you were studying in.
Right, definitely. But to be honest, like when somebody is doing a startup and doing something different from the usual way, right? There's a lot of negativity happens. There's a lot of parents' pressure coming in out, because you haven't proved till now, right? Because you are just coming in out from a very tier 3 city, not studying in very high level of college, just studying in the mid-size and all. There's a lot of pressure out there, and coming out of that pressure, what is the one key piece of advice you want to give to get out of these pressures and these negativity thoughts around you?
See, I say this often that the sooner you realize the difference between fear and risk, you will be able to break through a lot of these things. What I mean by that is that a lot of times what you think is risky is nothing but just your fear. I'll go back to the example of the 3.25 lakhs package that I had, because you mentioned that, right? I used to think that it's very risky to leave my job and try something new. But when I realized that, dude, this package I'll be able to get at any point in my life, and I can come back to this whenever I'd like. I realized that it was nothing but fear, and breaking through fear is not risky at all. If it would have been risky if, let's say, my family was dependent on that money, but that was not the case in my scenario. And that's why I started by saying that if that's not the case, then it's nothing but fear of what will the society say, fear of what your parents would say, fear of what happens if you fail, etc. So basically, it's nothing but fear of society, fear of what your siblings would say, what your cousins would say, what your friends would say. For that period, your friends might be able to get a couple promotions, and they might be able to get a better salary. They might be able to buy a car sooner than you or a bike sooner than you. But those are like very temporary, short-term fears that you have in mind. Those are not at all risks. And so the sooner you realize that, hey, these are just my fears, and I have to overcome them, it's not at all a risky decision. Go for it. I would encourage people to take a little bit of risky decisions as well. But again, I'm not encouraging people or forcing them into it. But depends on your appetite. But I would absolutely ask you to just question yourself, the hold up, is it fear or is it risk? And if it's just fear, just overcome that and do it regardless.
Definitely. So what I think, between the two things, risk and not risk, there's a very thin line of a confidence. So if you have a confidence, you can definitely fall into the side of the risk, unrisk, not a risk. And if you do not have a confidence, you will always be a risky, like, am I doing this? Will it work or not? And when you're confident about that, I will do it, right? I will do it. I will figure it out. I will find out anyways and all, and you can definitely go through it. So I can say like, this is the way you can really approach to the things you really wanted to do. So yeah, that's all. So now coming to the next question. Now you are working as a CRO at GAN.AI. So tell me about GAN.AI, what it does, and also what's your role into that category, because CRO is not a very common position that every startup have and all. So what's unique about your role at that company, and tell me about what is AI things you are doing right now.
So we're a generative AI company building foundational models in voice and lip sync. So we've built like India's only foundational model that is capable of supporting all Indian regional languages. It makes us the world's first company to be able to do that. The best foundational models in TTS support only 2 or 3 Indian languages, while we support all 22 Indic languages plus English. Right. So the vision is to build like a very big foundational model company out of India that is recognized globally and is used globally. And the first application of the TTS plus the lip sync model that we had built was video personalization, which is being used by all household consumer brands out there. And we saw that as an opportunity. I like to call it mail merge on top of videos. So just like mail merge, enables you to personalize text campaigns on emails by just uploading a CSV and changing a few variables for each recipient in the email. We do that on top of videos, so that your videos could be as personalized as your text communication is. Right. So we saw that as a great opportunity, and we entered that space. And right now, market leaders in the video personalization space globally, with brands like Cadbury, Zomato, Swiggy, Unilever, Coca-Cola, Amazon, using us for their personalized video campaigns.
Right. Tell me about your roles as a CRO at.
So I lead everything non-tech. So sales and marketing broadly. My responsibility is very clear in my title, that I need to bring the money in to the company. And doing it for a foundational model company is the first for me as well, while I've done that for SaaS companies in the past. We're in a very interesting time right now where people are questioning SaaS model as a whole, and we're trying to figure out what exactly will Gen AI actually replace. And in the middle of all of that, coming up with new pricing models, experimenting with different price ranges itself. You don't really know what your customers would be ready to pay for a product that is first of its kind. There's no benchmark out there. So those are the interesting problems that I'm solving for. Should it be $1? Should it be 10 cents? Should it be $10? For one video output, for example, right? Similarly, like the finest of TTS models are only like a couple of years old, And so like everyone is experimenting with different pricing tiers, and so are we. Even for our developer APIs, etc. We're just still figuring out what should be the right pricing for it. We have an enterprise version, we have a PLG version. So I think my responsibility is to just crack the right pricing for the product that's that's out there, and make sure that build a GTM that's repeatable and scalable in a way that we're able to get money even when I'm not in the scene on a day-to-day basis, both in the enterprise side of things as well as the PLG side of things. So we have three different GTM motions. One is the enterprise motion that is well oiled, and we have a sales team that is going after consumer brands and getting business from that. The second is a PLG motion that we've recently launched, where people can come and use the same product, but just by swiping their card, they don't need to speak to a salesperson at all. And the third is a developer platform where companies can build products on top of our developer APIs, both text to speech, and we'll be launching avatar APIs soon. Like making sure that all three are getting the due respect in terms of their price tags, but then also getting the traction that it deserves is basically my key role in the company.
Definitely, it's interesting. Like, to be honest, like for QuickReel, my key role is similar like you. I have to take care of the marketing, sales, and keep in mind like the revenue should flow into the company, and we should make alive our company. So now coming to the next part, like we have seen a controversy happened with the GAN.AI, and before the main ChatGPT AI era, right? The controversy of Hrithik Roshan saying some words which hurt some religious peoples out there. So tell me about what was this controversy, and just add some masala.
Yeah, like it wasn't really there wasn't any ill intentions from Zomato or from us or from anyone. In fact, Dipinder went ahead and also clarified it soon after that it wasn't the intention. I'll explain what really happened. So we were doing personalized campaign where the restaurant name and the dish name was personalized for every single zip code. Right. So for a particular zip code, the restaurant name was, I think, Mahakal restaurant, and the dish name was Thali, right? Okay. Just like any other restaurant, like let's say Barbecue Nation restaurant or McDonald's restaurant and so on and so forth. We dropped the word restaurant from everywhere because the word restaurant wasn't making sense in the script. Right. Like you would want to say. So the script was X ka man kiya, Y se mangwa liya. X being the dish name and Y being the restaurant name. So it was like burger ka man kiya, McDonald's se mangwa liya. So McDonald's restaurant would have sounded odd, and so we said McDonald's. And similarly, we just dropped the word restaurant from all the database that we had, and just took the most popular dish name in all the restaurants, and this data was provided to us by Zomato, of course, and we generated the videos, right? So in all of that, one of the restaurants was Mahakal restaurant, which was pronounced as Mahakal. So the video said, Thali ka man kiya, Mahakal se mangwa liya. Mahakal was also a very popular temple in the same city. So the controversy was that some political leader actually tweeted saying that, oh, so Zomato now delivers thalis from temples as well. What's happening? Like the good part is that they didn't realize that it's AI generated and it's just personalized for every zip code, which was the whole purpose of the campaign. So it did its job. Right. The sad part was that we could have done a little more vetting on our side before releasing these videos, because we didn't think of it as Mahakal se mangwa liya could be represented as Mahakal temple and not Mahakal restaurant, and so Zomato took this seriously, and Dipinder went ahead and tweeted an apology around it, but the intention was nothing crazy, and I don't think it was an AI misfire at all. It was just the database generating videos that the AI engine was asked to generate, and so it was generated.
Yeah, definitely. There's a two part of every story. I mean, there's a people sitting behind who are just waiting for the second part, right? Whenever somebody just saying something or just doing something, we are just hitting that part. Yeah. So definitely, like if you are doing something innovative or different, you have to face the both of the parts. So definitely, like that was the second part we know right now. But yeah, that's also creates a little problem about the AI, right? So we are also AI company, you are also AI company, but to be honest, if a person was doing that, he going to do the same thing because he will fact check. So with the AI, this thing comes out like you are giving the input or they are generating the output and all, but there's a no fact checker. So how you see this is going to solve into the future, or is it going to be, or is it a serious problem or not?
See, I like to give this example of comparing it to Photoshop, for example, right? Like Photoshop today is used, I think, in government organizations as well, and all of us use it on a day-to-day basis. Uh, you know, but if you think of Photoshop as a tool, right, it could be very scary that it could just take your signatures and put it on a check and like make someone believe that you've signed it. Or take your signatures and put it on a document and send it to all of your employees with a message that comes directly from you. So I'm trying to say is that the person who's doing it is a criminal, not the tool that is being used. So like there are good and bad ways to use any technology for that matter, and when it comes to AI, it's no different. And so a criminal mind would always use it in a criminal way. And there are already n number of technologies beyond, even before the AI era, there were n number of technologies that could have been used for those criminal activities. But then the same technologies were always built with the intention to serve the greater good. So I think if you're extremely fearful about the bad, then we'll always lag behind as an organization, as a industry, as a country, no matter at whichever level we try to just stop it. Yeah. So I think artificial intelligence as a technology has like a lot more pros, and so would have a lot more cons to it as well. And like we have to be a little more accepting towards the the technology for it to actually be able to help for the greater good. I'm probably hopeful that the cure for cancer might come because of the breakthrough in artificial intelligence and how fast we're able to process data now. So I feel that if we're as an industry or as an organization or as a country containing the capability of artificial intelligence, then it's probably not gonna help for the greater good capabilities that it potentially has. And obviously, as you do that, make sure that you're containing the bad side of it, and having strict rules around it, so that anyone who's planning to use it for criminal reasons is held accountable.
Definitely. I also think in the same way, whenever a new technology comes, there is always a pros and cons, right? So when internet was came, definitely like people were using it in a wrong way, right? Like there was a very dark sides also opened it out, selling of weapons and all that was not happening into the previous internet era. So it doesn't mean that we have to end the internet and all. We have to find a way like we can really reduce it. But definitely if something new is coming, definitely there will be some cons about it, but we have to see the pros, how it can really generate values in our life. Like as you said, like the cure of cancer can be come out from this, and we have to go into that direction rather than thinking like in a very pessimistic way, right? We have to be very optimistic like the AI will go into the future. Now coming to the next part, like what you see the future of AI, how you see now currently AI is like a Chinese Chinese room theory, right? You know about the Chinese room theory. There is a room in which there is a very bookshelf and all large number of books. Now a user is outside of that book room, write something on a paper, send it into the room. Somebody into the room search it out for the answer of that and give it to you. Right, that's how current AI is working. The room is you can think it as a LLM, right? Now the future of AI is AGI. So what you think about that, and what you see like how it will change the world that is right now?
So I think like AGI is very real, and it's not future. I think it's present. A lot of AI models right now are already being trained on very very large data sets, and like time and again these new models have started to prove that they're smarter than humans, and there's nothing stopping from general intelligence to come into computers sooner than later, to the extent that they will have superhuman capabilities, and will be able to solve very very complex problems that earlier would take decades in a few minutes. So the future of AI is this being accessible to everyone's palm,
Right.
Which could potentially mean that there has to be a massive reform in education, because everything that you're learning in schools might become redundant, because every single answer is actually just available a Siri away. You can just ask Siri and you'll know exactly what you're being taught. So you need to learn potentially how to work in this era, where most of the current curriculum might become super redundant. So I think future of AI is having general intelligence in the palm of every single person out there, and having one UI, no complexity. By which I mean that like just asking for stuff to be done and it gets done, or everything is so well connected with each other that it figures out what to do for you. Humanoids are being uh, uh, evolved faster than ever. So if you connect the two dots, you could potentially in future ask your AI to do your dishes before you reach home, and it knows exactly when you'll reach home. It knows exactly where you are right now. It knows what systems to turn on for the dishes to be done, etc. And by the time you're home, it's all done. Which frees up so much more time for you. Now I the answer that I don't know yet is that what do you do with so much more time on your palm, on your hands, after AI has taken care of most of the stuff for you. So that's basically I think what the future looks like to me. And this is just 3 to 5 years away, I feel, where you have AGI in your palm and you're getting stuff done within seconds, and research is becoming a lot faster, which will lead to getting answers to questions like cancer, or HIV, etc. That's not answered so far because of the time it takes to for in the world of medicine to complete your research. And similarly in other domains as well, I feel that advancements in research will be path breaking and will lead to a lot more inventions that we can't think of. Just like if light was not invented, we don't know what all could have stalled, right? If machineries were never invented, you wouldn't know, maybe if machineries were never invented, you wouldn't have phones. If internet was not invented, you wouldn't have AI, for example. So we don't know. Now that AGI is becoming real, what will it lead to is the unknown that I'm excited to know.
Definitely. So now coming to the next part, Sequoia is one of the leading investor in all over the world, right? Not in India, but all over the world, one of the leading investors. Sequoia invested in GAN.AI, and you are working with them since a long time. So how's your experience working with them? Are they supportive? Recently, Vinod Khosla also said like the 70% of the investors, sorry, not 70, I think 90. I don't remember the number correctly, but they said like this number of investors are not helpful for us, for any startup. So how do you describe Sequoia as a partner?
So Sequoia's been like a long-standing partner to us. Sequoia was an investor in Slintel as well, so I know folks at Sequoia from those days. I think one, I think we should understand the responsibility of an investor, which is providing you, money that's at the right value. That's the core, relationship that you have with the investor. The other relationship that you have is to get help from their experience and their network, which you as a young startup don't have just yet. I think if you contain your expectations from the investors to these two things, I think most investors actually are able to help you with these two things. Once you start expecting the investors to run your business for you is when like the expectation mismatches start to happen, right? So they might be able to tell you the name of the guy you need to reach out to be able to get some help in your GTM. They may or may not be able to force that guy to get on a call with you. That's your hustle. Similarly, they might be able to help you figure out your PMF, by running with you. But once you found the PMF, they can't take you to like $2 million in ARR. That's where you have to, hustle your way into finding a repeatable motion that takes you to 2. And once you've reached 2, they can probably tell you the things that can go wrong in your journey from 2 to 20, for example. They can't take you there, right? So I think most investors do their part. Sequoia has been exceptionally good. They've been like connecting us to anyone and everyone we wanted to connect with. That's the power that comes with Sequoia, that they almost know the who's who of the world. And they've been guiding us. They've been telling us wherever they thought we were going wrong, and we've been course correcting thanks to them. And both with Slintel and GAN, I would say that like Sequoia has been a very powerful muscle of our business, and they've helped us like grow at the pace at which we grew both the businesses.
Yeah, definitely. Now we are going to the direction from a startup to an investment perspective. So we also know you are an active angel investor. So just tell me about your thesis. If you invest in a startup, what is your thesis and what you look into founder? Also, just tell us if there is a very young founder, what's your advice from you for him to raise his funds? So just tell.
So I think one, I'm not very active. I'm I was a little active after the Slintel exit, and then I had some time, but after that I've been a little slow. I don't have time at all. Now that I'm doing a startup myself, I don't have enough money as well. I had that phase where I was active. But and then to don't have a thesis per se. So I am a pretty impulsive guy in general. I'm very impulsive, and so most of my investment decisions are also very impulsive. So I would obviously trust who else is backing from a lead standpoint. So if Sequoia is backing, I can't have a thesis of mine, right? I mean, they have a large enough team to understand whether the business is going to do well or not, and I don't think I'll be able to tell anything more than what they would have already calculated. So if Sequoia has invested, I can almost invest blindly. But then obviously, I have to pick my startups because I can't invest in every startup that Sequoia and Axel, for example, are investing in. And so the way I usually take that impulsive decision is after one conversation with the founder. So if that conversation with the founder made me believe that this guy has the hunger to make this happen and is in it for the right reason, right? I would just say yes. So most of the decisions have happened within 30 minutes of getting on a call, and nothing more calculative than that, I would say. For startups who are looking to invest, looking for investments, I think you need to first of all be true to the purpose. How strongly, because it's a very difficult journey, and so if you're just doing it for money, or if you're just doing it for quick exit, or if you're just doing it for anything but strong purpose that is attached to that idea, you'll be demotivated along the way and you'll fizzle out. The only way to make a startup very, very big is to just stay invested for very long, right? And for you to stay invested in it for very long, no matter whether you're getting funding, no matter whether you're getting clients, no matter whether the product is able to solve something, but you're still at it and you're still solving, the only motivation will be if there's a very strong purpose behind it. And that purpose brings you back every day in the morning and lets you to hustle through that journey. So I think I feel that if you have a strong purpose, you'll figure it out. Some might be able to raise their round in the first 1 month of announcing that I'm starting up. The others might take about 3 years to raise their first round. But as long as you have the hustle to take it all the way till 3 years, you will make it. I've seen startups of both sides, where obviously the founder is star-studded, and the founder will be able to raise funds within like 1 week of announcing that I'm starting something. And on the other side, they're first-time founders, not from like tier 1 colleges, but they made a profitable business through sheer hustle, and then investors could not ignore, but came back and invested in the business 2-3 years later, after the business was already established, and the business was profitable and was growing fast enough. So I've worked with both kind of founders. I've invested in both kind of founders, and the only kind of founders that I feel are not in it for the right reasons are the ones who are just looking for money, who's just looking for quick exits. Because honestly, like I would like to say this on your podcast, that if you want to make great money, like don't start up. Just keep working in great companies. If you're very smart, if you're smart enough to build a big startup, you're smart enough to work for Facebook, for Google, for Amazon, for Microsoft, for Nvidia. Go work there, you'll make a lot of money. But if you're in it for a purpose, that's when you should start up, that you want to see this through.
Definitely. What I think with my experience, like if you are persistent in your journey with your purpose, as you said, you will definitely achieve what you want, right? If I tell about myself, definitely, like I was not a very, I'm not a person with a very good educational background. I'm also coming from a tier 2 city, tier 2 college, and also not have a very good working experience also. But what different in me, if I look to the other people who are doing the similar things, I'm being persistent in my journey. I know what I want to do. I know I will do it, and I keep doing it and keep showing it every day, keep doing it, and one day definitely you will get the result in compounding. I'm a very big believer of compounding. Just do it, and definitely you will see it. So I will definitely say that. So now coming to the next part. Now, as we were talking about the purpose, right? So if I ask you about what is the end goal of GAN.AI, right? So tell me, like, why you are building it, and what's your end goal, like what you want to build at the end.
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, right? We want to build, a foundational model that the world is using, and it's referred as the model that India gave to the world. That's what like drives us every day. Like right now, there's not a single foundational model that the world can pinpoint and say that India say IIM model. Right? There are great companies from Europe, there are great companies from US, there are great companies from China that are that have given good models that the world is using. I think we feel that we'll give one to the world from India, and we've assembled a very, very strong team of AI researchers at GAN.AI, who are trying to benchmark our models against the world, and trying to solve for complex problems, sitting in an office in Noida. And we have believers in the form of our investors who are providing us what we need in terms of capital to be able to make that dream happen. So I think for us the end goal is to just have a very strong foundational models that is being used for decades to come, and that remains the most used model in that space, starting in TTS and lip sync and avatars. Hopefully that will be the domain in which we'll find that success. But we are not contained with just that, right? We'll continue to build new foundational models, and we'll keep showing applications for the same as well. Like we use our TTS and our lip sync models to do video personalization, for example. We're doing avatars in-house as well, so you can just generate end-to-end video on yourself using our models. And now we've launched zero-shot personalization as well recently, which means that from the moment you upload your video to the point you can start personalizing it. It's all happening within an hour. Right now, it's not possible anywhere in the world where, without any training script, you just upload one video and you decide what your variable is, and personalization starts to happen. It's already path breaking, stuff that we're doing, and we've not even scratched the surface. So we feel that over the next few years, we can have loads and loads of products being built on top of the models that we've created, and serve their customers with different use cases that we can't even think about right now.
Definitely, but I little contradict here with your saying. I'm not a big believer that India will be able to give foundational model, and I want to say and the reason is India spent 3% of its economy, in researches, right? If we compare it with the US, they spend approximately 35%, which means more than 10x what India spends. Similar happens in deep tech, right? We have not seen any innovation coming out from India in deep tech because we have a capital constraint. So what do you think, how India will able to overcome that? Or as you said, as you are a big believer, like you will be able to get a foundational model coming from India, and people will be saying like this model is coming from India. How do you see, like how you gonna prove that?
Yeah. So I'm not saying that the number of foundational models that will come from India will be higher than that from US.
Okay.
I'm saying that GAN.AI will give the world one foundational model that will be used by the world as the best model in that category. That confidence comes from having a state of the art research team in house. They might have studied in US, they might have done their own research in US, but we got them back in India to assemble this strong team that is capable of building models that are as good as that being built in the US. Most people doing it in US are actually from India, right? So they just went there, studied, continue to work there because that's where they were getting the worth to their their wisdom and their intelligence in terms of the pay. But if we could potentially bring them back home, they can stay with their families, they can eat their home cooked food while still working on very, very interesting problems and making good money. You've cracked it, and we feel that we as a company has really taken the right first steps in that direction to bring the same talent that's accessible to these American giants back to India, and then build some great foundational models. And similarly, with when it comes to capital as well, again, obviously, the capital that at large Indian Gen AI companies will be able to raise will be lesser than what American companies will be able to raise. But I'm right now talking about GAN.AI. And I feel that there is no constraint when it comes to the amount of capital that we will be able to raise if we need to, from across the world. If let's say Indian investors are not able to, pour in as much money as we need, there's nothing that stops today, for you to raise from any other country where you have the believers, right? So that's where I'm coming from.
Definitely nice point of view, and I hope definitely India will able to give a foundational model to the world, and I'm really hope this will happen. So now coming to the next part, like for example, let's say right now you are just entered into the college. Your age is approximately 19, 20, 21, young 20-year-old. You are into the current situation with having all knowledge right now you have. If you want to start a startup, what startup would you start? What kind of startup, and in which industry, and why you choose that?
I would do exactly what I'm doing right now, again. And the reason is that, honestly, before I, joined GAN and I joined Sovrat, right? I had the luxury to pick my next company because, I did fairly well at Slintel and got a, good exit, so I could have waited it out. Sequoia was kind enough to, check with all of their portfolio companies if they wanted someone like me, and almost everyone raised their hands, right? So I had the choice to pick my next company, my next industry, my next founder, etc. And I chose GAN.AI, and I have zero regrets after 2 years. And it was a very thought through decision, and it would have been great if I was 22 right now. I'm not, uh, but yeah, I think I would absolutely do what we're doing at GAN. This is the time to literally think very big and think horizontal and build complex APIs around foundational models for the world to build on top of, because it is so complex and because it is so cost intensive, and because not everyone can do it, is why you do it, and let others build on top of it. I feel that we're at the right place at the right time right now.
Okay, Anupreet, it was great having to you on the podcast, and definitely the conversation that we have around AI, GAN AI, also about the future of AI, what will be happening into the future. Definitely, it will be a really helpful for the young people who are seeing it out, and that's what our end goal with the podcast. Like the young people should get like how, if they really want to start a startup, how they really can do it. So if you, again, like similar question like that I asked previously, if you want to uh, say some advice for a young person and all, what would you like to say? And
Yeah, no, I think I would absolutely ask them to take a little risky bets in their career, early on, when they can afford to, and not contain them with a 9 to 5 job. Work extremely hard in the early days, of your career. If you're serious about career, that is. I mean, you could have a priority of sports, you could have priority of art, and art may not be your career, and that's perfectly fine if you want to balance it out that way. But if you're someone who really wants to, have a 10x career, then work extremely hard and early on and take those risky bets if needed, and like don't have any ceiling when it comes to what you could achieve. Even if, let's say, you were not from the best college, even if, let's say, you were not great in your academics, etc. Even if, let's say, for the first 7-8 years of your career you were not doing very well, still, I think if you work extremely hard in the right direction and take some right bets for 5 years, you can change the fortune for yourself. So I just feel that those 5 years could come anytime. It could come between 30 to 35, 35 to 40, 20 to 25, 25 to 30, or 15 to 20, where most of the people who crack IIT, they did it in their 15 to 20 probably, right? So you could do it between 35 and 40 and then catch up with them at 40 if you really are passionate about it.
definitely. Okay, Anupreet, great having to you on the podcast.
Thank you, Ansh.